Hi everyone, my name is Javi and I can draw, and this is going to be the last day of the videos about body types. In order to do this a little bit fast, I kinda did all the drawings already, but come with me, I want to show you something. So first I want to start with height, and let me tell you what I did to figure out what is the best way to draw height. This is something actually pretty silly that I did, but it ended up working, so maybe it wasn't so silly. The first thing I did is I drew this really tall guy here. Oops, let me change the color. I drew this really tall guy here, and then what I thought is like, well, what if I start shortening him in order to get like a really short guy, using this as a guideline, sort of like a skeleton. And I started doing that, and well, if I have to give you some tips about how to do someone tall or someone short, I'm going to give you this. Try to keep the head at the same width or size than the rest of whatever character is going to be next to your tall or short guy. Maybe in the case of the short guy, you want to make the head a little bit bigger for like more effect, to make him look chubbier or whatever. And always try to keep the rib cage and the waist around the same width as well. So the head, the chest, and the hips, they're going to be the same width. It doesn't mean that they have to be the same length, but still, like, if you keep this, it's going to be pretty much the same in all three cases. As you can see on this one, on the short guy, I actually was tracing from the tall guy that I reduced, like scaled, and then started changing the proportions. You can see here that I made it a little bit wider, and I kept the head at the same size. So if you want to do shorter people or taller people, well, those are the basic things that you have to take into account. There's not much to say about it, honestly. But let's go to what I wanted to do today. And what I wanted to do today was to try to understand what makes a difference when trying to make motion or characters moving and they have different body types. So I'm going to reduce this thing here. Just 1 second. So what I have here is this 4 body types that I did, like a really skinny one, a kind of athletic one, and then I did the 2 type of fat ones that are like the fat and non-muscular, and then the fat and muscular. And well, I used, for all of them, I used this really skinny one as some sort of skeleton, because since it's skinnier and there's not much muscle, you can kind of see it as a kind of basic bone structure, so to speak. So if we're talking about the same person that was either really athletic and went really fat and then really muscular, or vice versa, the thing is that, well, I used the same basic structure for all of them. And the most important thing that I saw when I started doing this is that what really matters is that as soon as you start getting more fat and more muscle and you get bulkier in your physique, the first thing you lose is elasticity, because you have to move a lot of mass. Like if you're really raising your leg, you move a lot of mass when you from your belly when you're raising your leg, and the same thing with your arms. Like suddenly you would be getting a lot of amount of skin and muscle and fat here on the shoulders. So when you're raising your arms, it is actually very different. So the thing that I found that is the most important to keep in your mind when you're doing these characters that have different body types is actually how elastic they can be, how much they can stretch, and what is the range of motion. So when I try to actually do, I think that there is one particular case that I want to show you, and I think it's this one. Let me see. So see, this is the guy that was, just 1 second. So this is how they were running. This guy, the fat guy, was running, and I actually didn't like a lot how that was working, because I thought that he was like maybe a little bit had too much range of motion. So that's what I did. I changed it into this, and maybe it doesn't look that much cartoonish, but it looks a little bit more realistic in the sense that I feel that it has to do more with how a person with that weight there on the waist and the legs would move. If you look at the previous one again, it looks like the legs are a little bit skinnier, so maybe that will give you more range of motion, but I ended up liking this one a lot more. And for this one, the like really fat, really muscular guy, he doesn't have a lot of range of motion because, you know, having to move all of, when you're raising your leg here, you're actually moving all of these fat here, so you have to actually kind of fight against your own belly when you're raising your leg, like trying to move all that mass there. And here, when you're trying to raise your leg this way, it's the same because you have a really big butt, and that butt clashes with all of these fat over here. So after I did this, I thought like, well, I'm going to do one more pose that has like a lot range of motion and trying to see how that would go. And so I did this like silly, really cartoonish jumping figure just here. I copied it as well. So now we have these four guys, like the really skinny, the really muscular, and then fat and non-muscular, and the really fat and muscular. And well, that is the same thing that changes. And I mean that here he can really lift the leg, here he can lift it less, and then he can lift it less here. And you know, regarding really lifting the arms, since this character is not muscular, he can pretty much raise it okay, but this guy that will have like a lot of neck and a lot of shoulder, he can't raise it on the same way, so it has to be more spaced and maybe not so stretched to the back. And you know, when regarding the range of motion of the leg is the same thing, like it takes a lot of, there's a lot of volume and mass here that would stop this leg from going any higher. And well, that's pretty much it. So you know, if we're going to do this like really quick, the conclusions that we take is like, well, when you have different body types, you have to consider the masses and the volumes that are getting in motion and how that changes you know, how much a muscle or a limb can stretch. And you know, also like if we were doing like another pose where there was some sort of stretching this way or something like that, you're going to see that the fatter the people are, the more mass they will have to compress on this side, so they will have less range of motion in that case. So well, those are actually pretty much the conclusions that I took from it. And that's going to be it for today, and that's going to be it for this week. This concludes the video on body types. I know that I promised that I was going to get more into character design, but I think that is a subject that is too complex to just leave it to one short video. So I'm going to do that not next week, but the other week, because this week I have to move and I won't have any time to do this. The next video that you'll see of me, it will be from a new apartment. You know, oh guys, I'm moving up. And that's literally up because I'm staying on the same building. I'm going just 2 floors up. It won't change much. Yeah, but that's it. I'll show you the apartment once I move. My name is Javi and I can draw. That's it for today. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and all of that if you like the video. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye.